So, as you can tell, the streak of nice weather has gone away for a couple of days now. So, it's back to vlogging in the car. Anyway, have you ever noticed the amount of time out of our lives that we spend worrying about things? It's almost like a chronic disease, like a chronic disease, right? It's crazy. And I think the reason why a lot of people do these things is because we spend too much time in our heads. And we don't usually know or understand that all that does to a person worrying about things, whatever the things are, it doesn't matter. All that does to you is, number one, it stresses you out. And let me tell you something. Research has been proven that when our physical body, our vessel is stressed, it does all kinds of stuff to our health. People age faster, and there's all kinds of other things that come along with that. It weakens your immune system. Fear does that too, you know. Um, but all that really does, really, after all is said and done, is it takes away your peace. It breaks your peace for the day. Not too long ago, I was looking at some photos of mine from a few years back. And it's mind-boggling to see how much my appearance has changed from those photos that are probably, I'm going to say, 3 to 4 years old as compared to now. It's like it's like I gained 10 years of my life back. It's like I've gotten 10 years younger, at least. And that stuff is visible, my friends. It is noticeable. You can actually see it. This is something that I encourage everyone that's on this journey of self-improvement and beginning to understand that some of these things, they're just not only distractions, but a lot of these things like worrying about stuff and all of that, it's only gonna bring you more problems. And sometimes the solution to certain things lie in the fact that all you have to do is have a little trust and understand that everything is part of the plan, whether you know the plan or not, and that timing is something that is very personal for every person. And it's all based upon, things that happen, things that are happening. But trust me when I tell you, worrying about things is not going to do you any favors. It's only going to make it worse. Because you're feeding this aspect of yourself that enjoys spending so much time in the mind and then trying to create all these scenarios that you don't yet know what the outcome will be, right? For the sole purpose of causing whatever emotional state that is going to be causing it. It could be many. It could be doubt. It could be fear. It could be, it could be worry. It could be anxiety. It could be all kinds of things. We humans are weird sometimes, let me tell you. And try doing that for a day or two if you're the type of person who enjoys, worrying about things. Try going a day or two without being that way and see the difference that it's going to make in your life. Just for a day or two, you'll see. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. Because I think we all have these phases in our lives where we go through these things and we're just like worrying about things and overthinking, overanalyzing. And the truth is, sometimes you're better off just allowing things to be and let it flow, let it run its course, than spending time worrying about things, trying to plan it all ahead of time, trying to figure out all these different outcomes and scenarios before things come to pass. We have to learn how to trust again, trust ourselves, trust the process. And also recognize how far we've come in our lives. We never give ourselves credit for all the things we've gone through, for all the things we have endured, all the highs and all the lows. And we've all been there. There is no exception to that rule. Whoever is watching this right now, I want you to know, I know what it's like, because we've all experienced it, one way or another, in one form or another. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. There's no such thing as a perfect life. But we can try to have a balanced life, to live more aligned with ourselves, more in tune with ourselves. And the most important step to all of this is, presence and awareness, like I always say, and then respecting yourself and understanding how powerful boundaries are and how much they help you in your life. Because we all have this tendency to overextend ourselves, overgive. And all of these things that we usually do without understanding that not everyone that's out there is going to be there for your greater good. There will be people that will come into your lives that, they will be there to test you. They will be there to give you a lesson. And that's all that there is. And then once we learn the value of these things and we learn the lesson, you don't have to subject yourself to those things anymore. You can just move on. Keep in mind, though, that being passive won't do anything. Don't forget that. Being passive won't do anything. So when I talk about letting go of your worries and things like that, you have to understand that if you're just sitting in your butt there doing nothing, nothing is going to fall from the sky on your lap to, to make it, yeah, miracles may happen. They do happen, but that's not going to be the case with everybody. And the other thing is, I believe these things, we earn them. They don't just come and show up out of nowhere, right? So you have to be in a certain spot in your life, spiritually, mentally, in your heart space, for some of these things to happen to people. And they don't happen just because you want them to happen. Yeah, will matters a lot, but you have to be in the right space for these things to come, for these things to crystallize, materialize, right? So keep that in mind when I talk about these things. And I've said this on many of my videos in the past. Being passive is not a good choice. Now, I think part of the issue is that we just tend to worry about things and then dwell in that space. And it's not a good space to be. It doesn't feel good, right? It's causing you some sort of negative emotion. That's not a good space to be in mentally, and all of that, spiritually. So trusting is very powerful, is very important. We have to learn how to trust ourselves again. Trust that, there are things that we cannot see that have been set in motion. God knows how long ago, that are still happening in this liminal space that we cannot see. And once we begin to understand the value of boundaries and respecting ourselves, and having this mindset that, you should treat yourself the way you want to be treated by others. This has been inverted, actually. People think that by treating others a certain way, that's how they're going to treat you. That is not very accurate. It may be in some scenarios with some people, but most often than not, what's going to happen is when you overextend yourself, when you're too nice, when you're too kind, when you have a big heart, usually what happens, until you learn how to be a certain way, until you begin to heal certain wounds, certain trauma, that's only going to hurt you in the long run. That's what it's going to do. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep questioning yourself. You're going to keep asking yourself the question, why is this happening? Why, I'm a good person. I'm such a nice person. You're going to be, I can hear you telling yourself this right now. Trust me. I can hear it all the way over here, wherever you are. And then you're like, And all this bad stuff keeps happening to me. People keep walking all over me. People keep using me, abusing me. And I'm here to tell you that the reason why that's happening is because you forgot the meaning of self-respect. You've abandoned yourself. And when you begin to do these things, that's when people do these things to you. Do not allow people to mistake your kindness, your big heart, your niceness for weakness. That's the part that everybody seems to not see or forget about. Because for the most part, as it currently stands, we live in a world where there's a lot of opportunists out there. There's a lot of narcissists out there. And they love people like you. They know how to play you like a fiddle. Because that's all they've done their whole lives. But the minute you realize your value and who you are, and you begin to have respect for yourself again, and you begin to set boundaries and all these things that matter, that's when you regain your own power. And that's when you realize that sometimes the best choice for you, for your own well-being, for your peace of mind, for you to be able to realign with yourself, readjust, recalibrate, you have to walk away. And it's just the way it is, guys. It's just the way it is. People fail to see this so much in life, that you don't have to be running after things. You don't have to be chasing things. You don't have to constantly go out of your way to have people like you, to have people see you, to have people hear you, to have people love you. Because the people who are meant to be for you, to be a part of your life, they're just gonna like you for who you are. You don't have to do any of these things. And if that means being all by yourself and being alone for as long as it takes, so be it. I can tell you one thing, you're gonna get all the peace of mind you never had in your life before. And there's no money in the world. There's no status in this world. There is no material things in this world that can make up for that peace of mind that you're going to get. I can assure you that 100%. And once you gain that peace of mind, once you regain that peace of mind, you're finally going to have clarity, perhaps for the first time in your life. And that clarity is going to open so many doors for you. That clarity is gonna be such a game changer. Because for most people throughout our lives, we don't have that clarity. Everything is blurry, everything is fuzzy, everything is confusing. Things don't make sense. And we keep on going on about our lives, asking ourselves, always asking ourselves questions, whatever the questions are, because we don't understand why certain things are happening the way they're happening, why certain things are playing the way they're playing. And then we let that fear settle in and control so many aspects of our lives. Because whenever we think of doing something a different way, maybe going a different way, maybe changing everything, quitting our jobs, breaking up with somebody, letting go of some types of people in our lives, all kinds of stuff like that, right? Usually, when you think about doing certain changes like that to your life, the fear comes in and you begin to self-question again. The doubt. And all these things that are always controlling certain aspects of our lives. And it's harder today because of social media and all these things that people use for self-validation. But if you need to use something like that to feel validated, you're doing it wrong, because you don't need it. You're fine just the way you are. When you're just yourself, when you finally choose to strip off that mask and drop the performance act and just be who you truly are. Be authentic. Be unique. Be that person who you've always been since your childhood. Sometimes I remember some things, and one of the things that it stuck with me for the longest time that I never realized until I finally healed some of these things was, I remember when I was young, more than once my dad would tell me, why do you have to be so loud? Why can't you talk like a normal person? It always sounds like you're screaming when you're talking. And the way that affected my life for a long time was that I didn't stop being this way, speaking the way I do in all of these. But what that did is it put this thing in the back of my head that it made me feel that I wasn't good enough. Deep down inside. That's how that affected me for a long time. And these things, they are so subtle though. They are so subtle that you don't realize that. That's the problem with these things. These things are so entrenched in your subconscious that you don't notice, you don't realize. It's not like you're telling yourself that. It's so ingrained in your subconscious that your mind doesn't even have to tell you that you're not good enough, right? You just behave that way because it's just there. And that's the problem with that type of trauma. Most people don't see it. Most people, sometimes they don't even know they have it. And that's why it's important to apply that presence and awareness. I'm going to end this here. And don't forget to leave a like, share, subscribe. Until next time, my friends, I will catch you on the next one.